the Blackmagic Pocket 6K Pro suffers from the blue screen of death. Hello, my name is Jonathan Palfrey and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe before I forget to tell you at the end. Today we're going to be talking about a hot topic related to the Pocket 6K Pro, and that is this issue with the screen on the back looking a little bit too blue for most people's liking. Is it something that means the death of the Pocket 6K Pro, or is it something that we can overcome and actually still use on professional shoots? So I got the camera a few weeks ago and I've been using it in various situations, indoors and outdoors on professional shoots, but also just for fun. One thing that's been spreading around the internet a lot though about this camera, of course, is that tinted blue screen. And it's fair enough, it could be the big thing that would put you off purchasing the Pocket 6K Pro. The question is it really that bad? So to be honest, when I started using the camera, it took me a little while to notice actually that the screen was a bit too blue. I used it on its own, I wasn't comparing it to the Pocket 4Ks that we already own. And to be honest, when you're just using it as it is, it's noticeable and it is there, but it's not the end of the world. I've seen other screens that maybe not quite as blue, but you certainly do get a variance on all monitors, regardless of how good they are or the different brands. They all have their own sort of look and you sort of get accustomed to that camera's particular look. The Pocket 4K, for example, had a very warm screen. It made everything look a bit too warm really compared to where it should have been at on the white balance you had set it to. That said, the nice thing about warm is it looks kind of nice. And if a client were to see it, or even just ways you're filming it, it gives you that kind of confidence that actually you're shooting this and it looks good. The problem with a blue image, especially when you're shooting, say out in daylight and it's already quite a blue environment, it just makes things look not so great. Here's some sample footage simulated to show how it looks, because actually on camera it's quite hard to show the effect of the blue screen. I've tried it with different cameras and I've noticed other people on YouTube have attempted as well. It hasn't really come across. So in these examples you can see that it just gives you that little bit of blue tint that just doesn't give you the confidence that you want to know that the image is good. Obviously we're shooting raw, so it doesn't actually matter, and the actual footage it shoots on the camera is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. It's just not giving you that confidence that you really want when looking at a back screen monitor. Now it does seem to be an issue that only seems to be affecting certain people. There's people out there who've got this camera and the screen looks absolutely fine. Now I don't know why that's the case, why it's varying so much from Blackmagic and their manufacturing. It's a shame it is varying so badly. Apparently Blackmagic are aware of the problem and coming up with a fix via a software update. Now I actually heard about this pretty soon after I got the camera. I saw that other people were having issues with the blue tint, and I actually messaged ProAV just to ask what was the situation in terms of returning, for example. And they said Blackmagic are fully aware and they're currently working on a software fix. This is a cheap cinema camera, a very, very cheap cinema camera, and it has probably the sharpest and brightest screen and the largest screen of any manufacturer out there. No other camera manufacturer, whether it's Canon, Sony, Panasonic, have released a camera with a screen that is anywhere near as bright as this screen built into their cameras. It is nowhere near as sharp and certainly nowhere near as big. And I guess the sacrifice we have to make for that is that we're not going to get the quality control that perhaps the smaller screens from the other manufacturers you get. Now, of course, I would rather not have the blue tint issues with this screen. It's better than having a dim screen that you can't even use outside. Because that's the thing, this screen is so good. It's so much better than the competition in every other aspect except for the color issue that you sort of forgive it. That's how I've sort of looked at it. I'm happy to wait and see how Blackmagic will fix this problem, because I think once there's a screen calibration option in there, which actually I think is also another unique feature that no other manufacturers put in any of their cameras, where you can actually calibrate the built-in screen of the camera. If they do that and it works well and it fixes the problem, then this is by far ahead of all the competition, and at that point there's really nothing to complain about. Now I was going to share a solution that I was hoping to come up with by using a LUT edited in DaVinci Resolve that I was going to export and put into this camera to basically tweak the white balance on terms of how you see it through the LUT so that it looked correct. So I went through the motions, I did all that, I put it on the camera, but it wouldn't want to actually add it to the camera. And, you know, maybe typical Blackmagic, I checked online to see why it wasn't loading up the LUTs properly, and it turns out there's a problem with the Pocket 6K Pro loading LUTs at the moment. It's another thing that Blackmagic are aware of, and I guess their list of issues that need to be fixed is certainly growing. But unfortunately, that means it's not a solution for now that can be done. Is this a deal breaker for the Pocket 6K Pro? Personally, I think no. I actually think the screen, as annoying as it is being a bit blue, it isn't too bad when you're not comparing it to other cameras. Now, of course, if you've got the Pocket 4K sat right next to this camera, then yes, you do notice it. It does look a little bit strange and you go, oh, that is a bit too blue. However, when you're using on its own, you soon forget that that's there and you can just shoot and it's not a problem. Unless you may be doing some color critical work where perhaps you shouldn't be using the built-in screen anyway if you're in that situation, you should be using a proper calibrated monitor, then that's maybe the only situation where you would have an issue with the color of the screen actually maybe affecting your work. The only other issue I see really is client perspective. When you're seeing, the client sees the back of the screen and it looks very blue, they might get a bit concerned saying, oh, why is it that color? And I can certainly see that conversation potentially popping up, which isn't great. However, I think once they see the final results, I think they'll overcome it. The other solution you have out there is the EVF. The EVF produces a really good color accurate picture, and certainly if you want to make sure your colors are correct, just check it via that. So I hope that's got rid of some fears you may have with the Pocket 6K Pro. It's a little bit annoying to have that blue tint, but it's certainly not a killer issue. As I said before, the brighter flippy screen is such a killer feature on this camera that it really does overcome the issues of the blue tint. It's an issue that will get solved fairly soon, hopefully. And to be honest, when you're actually shooting with it, it's not that big of a deal. And actually you soon forget that there's even a tint there at all. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. I'll be doing plenty more videos about this camera, the viewfinder, and all other features around it, as well as other kit out there as well. I want to share a lot of stuff about the Pocket 4K, how to maybe rig that up, the FX Lion batteries, and much more. So please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.